You are listening to the Bob and Kevin Show with Bob Beattybar
and Kevin Gishesky. Each week we cover relevant tech and social issues related to technology.
Our website is bobandkevin.show,
and our episodes can be found virtually on any podcast network.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Bob and Kevin Show.
Kevin,
wow.
Oh, your video came through as a tiny little sliver. It's not supposed to do that.
And, you know, I do want to get skinnier, but this is just awkward. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Bob.
I'm so tired of this live shit already. Good Lord. Hey, we're Bob and Kevin. I'm actually Bob over here. That other guy who just magically came from thinness to fullness is...
He made me husky. I'm Kevin.
Well, I just made you
not fat, I'm husky.
Not a sliver. So we're continuing to try this live thing. I had to redeem myself from last week because apparently it was 40 minutes of me not having audio. Kevin had audio, so it seemed like it was a very one-sided conversation. That's not 100% true. I was participating. And then my audio came in very echoey at the 40-minute mark because I hit too many buttons. But then I think by about 44 minutes, I was in it for the last 15. How's that sound? Do I only get paid a quarter, 25%?
Yeah, and really the video part is the icing on the cake. The cake being the audio, the podcast. So if you're hearing this podcast only, do try to check us out somewhere on streaming if you're into the video. What does Bob look like? What does Kevin look like? And is there another Bob Beattybar in the world? If I Googled you, Bob, would there be some guy with some sort of weird curly Q mustache or, I'm just curious.
Probably look that up just in case someone has stolen my identity, but I think I'm the only one. How about Kevin Gishesky?
So,
Are there more than one of those?
There's not. So the one good thing about having a completely unpronounceable last name is uniqueness. So if somehow you spell it correctly, you will find me. It's funny because Grant, who's 20, he does a YouTube channel for a football player. He got a shout out by the football player on the football player's channel. Make sure you go follow Grant Gishesky. And he was just butchering the last name.
Oh, I was going to say, that actually sounded
one of these
pretty
days,
good, but that's not exactly what he said then, huh?
No. But I'm not adverse to him if he wants to change or have it like a pen name, if you will, because you can, this is my production last name or whatever, so who knows? I don't think I'll ever change just because, nobody cares about me. But he's young. He's got potential. I'm just old and, whatever. So.
Plus, I'm the only one who says your name on air anyway. So
it's true. I do. It's going to sound vain. I do Google myself from time to time because I'm just curious what comes up. Because my name's fairly unique. What comes up when you Google yourself, and I recommend you Google yourself, unless your name's like John Smith, and then it's just what's the point? So but I am curious. Because there's these slimy websites, My Life and whatever they are that will be for $15 we can tell you things about Kevin. But the funny thing is that's also what LinkedIn's business is. If you ever notice, do you want a paid pro account so you can vicariously see who's been checking you out professionally, of course.
Yeah, but they don't have FBI and stuff on. They don't have court cases and stuff on LinkedIn. They do on those other places. Those $15 reports.
Not yet. I don't know. Do you have the paid version of LinkedIn, Bob? Maybe they do. I don't know.
I do not. But
I'll never know.
Look, you got skinny again. What the heck? You're supposed to be locked to inner bounds. That's not supposed to happen.
I don't know. So... This is making for a great podcast. Bob's fiddling with video stuff.
Skype, OBS, get your shit together. What is going on?
So, let's see here. You had some topics today.
I do have some topics
to talk about
today.
One, do you want to go ahead and let the general listener know what it is we're talking about today?
For the general listener, I think we're going to start out. I mean, this is something that we've done traditionally throughout the years. Kind of a look back or a discussion about CES, if you will. So kind of scroll through the highlights that some of our online publishers have shared, because, you know, one of our goals a long time ago was to actually go to CES and do a live show or do a show or collect our own notes. But guess who got to go to CES this year, Kevin?
The people who went?
Not a
I don't know.
soul, actually.
Somebody we know?
Nope. No one.
Oh.
Th-
Virtual, huh?
This year's CES was all virtual, much to our friends in Las Vegas's dismay. Las Vegas has had a really, really hard year this past 2020, and CES kicking off 2021, being one of their largest events pretty much every year, at least to kick off the year, not having it. Las Vegas is hurting for certain, but that didn't mean that they didn't have CES. They just had a very different format for it.
Hurting for certain. Is that something you coined? I'm just curious. That was pretty good.
Hurting for certain?
Yeah.
No.
Never heard that before.
That's fairly old. I feel like a wrestler maybe coined it, like way, way back in the early days of wrestling. I don't know. Just feels like a macho
Smell what
man.
the Rock is cooking. No, I don't. I don't want to either. So, was there anything from CES that caught your eye? I've seen a few things here. I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
So
now, does this have anything to do with your favorite topic or our favorite topic?
Sex robots?
When it comes to, there you go. Yes. Does it have anything to do with those?
I think we're going to touch a little bit on some sexual innovation. Yeah, get it? Touch. See what I did there?
We're going to touch. See what you did there. Very titillating. I like it.
But I want to start off with maybe an ecological kind of innovation that's been happening. Kevin, I don't know if you remember hearing recently that China, well, not recently, within the last year and a half, I think this has happened. China has basically said we can't take any more of the world's recycling. Did you hear about that when that happened?
That.
Yeah. So along those lines, there's lots of municipalities and areas where they're not recycling anymore because there's no capacity for it. So you sort your stuff, you put your bins out, and those bins just are ending up in a landfill. Well, one of the innovations coming out from CES is an actual in-home recycler. So
can you explain what that means then? Don't we call those incinerators, and that's not really recycling?
Well, I think what they do is they take your loose recyclables and they crush them down into a much smaller recycling thing. Let's see what they say. It steam cleans, removes the labels, prevents contaminations, and I think it stores it until you get notified that there will be a recycling pickup that actually gets recycled. So there's companies that are still like traveling around and still fulfilling the actual recycling mission. And what this does is it holds everything for you, has an app. Of course, that's going to be a recurring theme for today's show, that this recycler has a loop, and it will notify you when that is going to happen. You can get it recycled. The bin can be picked up 3 to 8 times per year.
Doesn't sound like it's going to hold very much.
Well, it looks pretty big.
So real talk here. Hold on. Real talk. We have 2 recycle bins here at our house because we have 5 people full time, sometimes 6. Exactly. So we're going through milk cartons, cardboard, because we're buying online even more, orange juice containers, you name it, more and more and more. We fill up those 2 every 2 weeks still here in our. Wow, I'm skinny again. In our municipality, every 2 weeks, and we're bursting at the seams on those 2. Do you in Boulder still get pickups on a routine basis?
Well, we're in the apartment living scheme, so we actually have a recycling dumpster. I can't even get you. Oh, there we go. It's like I can't even get you to grow on this scene. We have a recycling dumpster outside, so in theory, that gets picked up from here 2 times a week, but we have no idea where that goes. Living in the Republic of Boulder, we can only hope that it's truly being recycled.
Yeah, it's just probably going to landfill. That's only after I knew about the China thing. They're like stopped taking recyclables. As far as I know, you're right. They're going. Thanks. It's now from going to the blue bin, which is our recycling, just to the landfill as well. Though I will say there is a company that's located not far from where I'm at. You may have heard it before. It's called Polywood, and what they do is they take
I have not heard of
recycled
Hollywood.
milk jugs. Yep, they take recycled milk jugs and they turn it into lumber. And then we get, or what do you use with this lumber? You ever heard of Trex before? Trex, like where it's basically a decking material
Oh
that
yeah.
cuts like wood, but it's a composite, right? So they also make furniture out of this. So this furniture, and we started getting some, is not cheap. So the table itself is like $1,000 that we have that would sit on our back porch, but it will last longer than the two of us combined because it's fade proof. It's tough as nails. I mean, it's like Trex. I mean, it would be hard to hurt this stuff. So that's one good thing that
So
I
with
know is
that
still
kind of
happening. That's a
price,
domestic thing.
with that kind of price and that kind of longevity, is this considered like heirloom quality that you would like leave this
Well,
to your
if you think about it,
children?
it's maybe. I mean, if you think about it, though, and it's made out of milk carton of recycle. So at the end of the day, it's plastic, but it's fancy plastic.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah, I mean, we have some couple of outdoor chairs outside that are in the front of our house that are rocking chairs made out of this stuff. It's built like a tank. It looks nice. A lot of people have like an Adirondack style
Yes.
chairs. We don't have those, but I mean, you can have all that stuff. But if you've ever had outdoor furniture, the elements are not easy on it. Just simply the sun shining down on some of those. If it's made out of metal, it rusts. It's not easy. I mean, wood still would last, but again, chips and eventually it rots. So this is kind of a nice way to take care of recycles. Anyway, deep rabbit hole here. We've got a recycling thing that looks way too small for my family, and I just don't see the use. So if you were going to sell this to me, tell me again what's getting me excited.
It's got an app attached to it. I think that's pretty much the only.
Oh, it's got
exciting-
an app.
Yes.
Sold. It's connected to the internet.
Yes.
I'll take two.
Yes. And as you can see, that is definitely going to be a recurring theme. But actually, another recurring theme of a lot of the stuff at CES is things that were related to the pandemic. So we had an episode a couple of weeks ago that focused on pandemic innovations as it related to things like we're doing here today, streaming or live meetings and things like that. One of the things that was prevalent in 2020, especially out west, were the wildfires, and air quality became a serious day-to-day issue. And so I found myself downloading apps that would give you air quality alerts, because if we were going to go to a certain place, we couldn't hike if the air quality was going to be super bad, and then like not just gray skies, but bad enough that it could actually impact your breathing. So air quality became a big thing in 2020. But another thing, as far as innovations related to the pandemic, AirThings, the company, is actually now building into their air quality centers the ability to detect viral load in the air. So AirThings can now analyze the risk of indoor virus spread. So found that kind of interesting.
Yeah, I saw some masks that are also connected to apps and whatnot. I saw those. Those feel really like trendy and fads, and like, are they actually working? I mean, what if they're? I don't know. They just seem kind of trendy. Wear a mask. Just wear a mask. Does it have to be connected to an app? Not so much. That's all I'm saying.
We're gonna get to some high-tech masks here a little bit later in the segment as well.
Question based on your wildfire. So here in Indiana, we don't exactly have wildfires. You know what we have in the fall? We have burning leaves, out in the country. I love that smell. I got a dumb question. When there's a wildfire, is there a part of you it's like, well, kind of smells good? I'm just asking.
No, I think that's a great question. I think it's incredibly fair. Since we're relatively new to living out here, this was our first experience with a true, very dangerous wildfire season. And the first couple days where the air quality was still okay, but you kind of got that whiff of burning pine in the air. I was like, oh, this feels like you're camping. After day 45 and some days where the sky was orange because of those, first of all, the smell changes over time depending on how hot and how close the fires are, and depending on what's being burnt besides the trees. So sometimes it was rancid, just like not very tolerable at all, but it wears on you. So imagine that next time we experience something like that, maybe even a campfire, it might trigger some pretty like not positive thoughts. So, but yeah, at the beginning it was okay.
Okay, just curious. All right, so I see something at CES that's app connected, but I just shake my head, Bob, and no, it's not the thing that vibrates to music for happy times.
We'll get to that.
It's let me read this one to you. You may have seen it. And here's the tagline: afraid of leaving your kid in a hot car? There's a device for that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Somebody's trying to market somebody. Hey, you forgot your kid in the car. You might want to go get them before they die. What irresponsible parent is going, you know what, honey? We better get one of these because it's happened 3 times so far. I just don't get this one.
So
help me out.
Do you remember a couple summers? I mean, these are all tragic stories. A couple summers ago, I believe there were multiple children that suffered this, terrible, death in cars. And immediately after that happened that summer, a car seat manufacturer came out with a car seat innovation that does pretty much the same thing that I'm looking at this. It looks like it's a pad that detects if your child is still, a top pad. So basically it can tell if there's weight still in it and will alert you if your device is a certain number of feet away from the pad. I think is probably what the gist of it is. Yeah, GPS location data. So, and apparently you can still get it if your phone is off. So that's interesting. I think that this is solving a problem that the problem arose because of the people who had to say something because they did something terrible to their children. Oh my God, I didn't even realize I left them in there. I mean, you're a parent, right? We've talked about this several times.
Never in my life would I even fathom the possibility that I've taken the time to put my child in a car, get out of it, and go, oh, you know what? I wonder if so-and-so is still in the car. I've never in my life had even a close call to anything like that. I just don't get that.
And I think it's important to say that since Kevin and I can both sit here and say that's never crossed our minds, then obviously we can't put ourselves in the minds of someone that is too stressed, too distracted, too whatever. But it just speaking as 2 dads, between us 7 kids, right? You have 4, I have 3.
Yep.
I do have a hard time, and then there's people who leave their kids on top of their car in the car seats. I've seen that. Like I've done that with my glasses and or a phone or a drink up on top of the phone.
That's horrible.
People have left their kids' car seats on top of the car.
This reminds me of National Lampoon's Vacation where they tie the dog to the car bumper or whatever and they take off driving. Yes. Like, maybe I can see that one. But your children? Come on.
I would say if you
need to not be a parent.
Right. If you had that pet and 3 children distracting you, you could see forgetting the dog. I don't know. I can't even. So just scroll down to the next one because I feel like we're probably getting ourselves in hot water with that one. Hide drugs from your kids in these Bluetooth unlocked boxes.
Why is it drugs though? Hide anything that can fit in this box from anybody. It should be what it is. But why drug? I mean, I get it. And do they mean like prescription drugs or do they mean cig weed? I imagine either, right?
I don't know. But when I read the headline, I was thinking like, wow, it's pretty responsible if you're hiding your heroin from your kids.
You know what? $549. No, buy a safe.
Oh, then it's cocaine. If the safe is $549, it's hide cocaine from your children.
Well, it has like a glossy area on the top that it looks like made up where you put lines of coke on it or something. No, I've never done coke, but I'm just saying. Yeah,
I saw it in a movie.
Every now and then, these innovations are just like, really? Was that really a problem we were looking to solve as a society? Was hide your drugs from your kids with Bluetooth connected.
Every now and then, the internet is a scary, scary place. Have you ever used a pop socket, Kevin?
Yes, not on my phone, but my kids and my wife use them. I saw the magnetic one. I think that's what you're getting at, right?
Oh, yeah. So apparently with the newer phones, they create MagSafe. It's like a MagSafe technology so that you can charge with a magnet. There's all kinds of magnetized components. Well, pop socket, those smart MFers, were like, that adhesive's a drag. Let's just make it magnetic and make it MagSafe. So I thought this one was pretty cool, and it's obviously not a $1 billion, like anybody can afford to buy said pop socket.
So, and of course, this is just me being an armchair engineer. So you have to have a pretty strong magnet for it to stay on. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%.
And what does a strong magnet create?
A magnetic field.
A giant ass. And what does a magnetic field interfere with?
Electronics.
I'm just saying, especially radio transmissions because they're electromagnetic. Hey, I'm sure it works-ish.
I think that's where the MagSafe comes in. So, I don't know.
Isn't MagSafe just the tagline say it's connected with a magnet? I don't know.
I'd have to look into it or get the interns to look into it. I believe it has to do with it's safe for electronics. Magnets that are safe for electronics. I could be wrong.
So I'm scrolling through this list you sent me through Wired, but I saw one on TV. And I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't know if it was meant for consumers, but it was at the CES. But it looked like a giant 6 foot tall thing with a bunch of light bulbs that were all UV. And it basically roams around this area and it tries to kill things with ultraviolet light, like viruses and bacteria, as it kind of like sweeps the room with light. And it totally looked like something out of a Star Wars medical droid type thing. I'm just like, what is that? That's totally looking creepy.
Apparently UV light blasting was huge at this year's CES. So there were tons of different, handheld versions of those, robot versions of those. Like, it's basically Roomba with a light kit attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, sure if it works, but it just have we started the dawn of these really weird looking medical droids? When you go to the hospital now, are you going to be created by this medical droid to sign in? It's telling you to wear the mask because the receptionist can no longer tell you to wear the mask because it's too dangerous to even do that. Who knows? It's just so dystopian anymore.
I think we're heading that way for sure. I think I saw some other stuff in this article related to in-store features to be able to help people with social distancing, so that basically they're going to have cameras. I don't know, heat sensors to beep when people are too close together. I'm not sure how that's going to work because obviously my wife and I don't social distance when we go to the store together. So.
Yeah, exactly. Because, how does the software know that, I can be close to you because I live with you, but I can't be close to them because I don't live with them? Now we have to program some sort of social behavior network under AI into these things. I think we've talked about it before, but it reminds me, I think it was Demolition Man or Judge Dredd. It was some Sylvester Stallone sci-fi movie with Sandra Bullock where he got froze. He got froze and put it into the future.
I think that's Judge Dredd, right? If Sandra Bullock's in it?
One of those two. They all blur. Some early 90s.
Maybe it wasn't Demolition Man.
I don't know. But anyway, the scene is, he comes from the past, like through cryo or something, and she's from the future, and he wants to, even actually touch physical contact.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about that one. Yeah.
With a syringe.
Doing it at distance.
Yeah, just completely medicinal. So, all right. What else caught your eye?
I got a question for you. Did you hear within the past year and a half or so that Segway was actually going out of business?
I did.
Well, apparently they're not. Because they are introducing...
Bob,
What?
Have you ever rode or driven on Segway?
I have not, out of fear.
Have you ever thought, man, I wish I had a Segway right now?
Never, ever.
What problems does a Segway actually solve? I'm just curious.
It solves the problem that when you're too lazy to walk, but you still want to move really slowly around an area, but use extreme balance to do so.
Yeah, I would say those are called golf carts, some sort of thing, some sort of event. Because, around here, when you want people, or even at an airport, I've never seen a Segway fill that need. It's usually some sort of golf cart or the old left and right foot. Just saying. So, I don't understand.
I think it was just supposed to be futuristic, like wheel feet. I don't know. But anyway, they're making them for kids now. So Segway is apparently not quite done.
Yeah, but isn't there already a kid version of these? And isn't it called the hoverboard?
Yeah, but it doesn't have a handle. Hoverboard's too hard to ride. These are a little bit more people-friendly.
So are you telling me somehow Segway has the monopoly of the patent on putting a stick that connects to the bottom on it?
They very well may.
I'm just asking. Because my kids would love to have those hoverboards. And I'm like, kids, back in my day, a hoverboard was something Marty McFly would be proud of. And they're like, whatever, Dad.
Nerd.
Exactly. All right. What else is on the list here that caught your eye?
Kevin, have you ever had a smartwatch? You have a Fitbit, right?
I have a Fitbit that I haven't put on since our last time we tried to lose weight. Successfully. We did successfully lose weight. But I successfully found it all. But not since then. I haven't really used my Fitbit. No.
When you had your Fitbit, did it do heart rate?
It did.
Okay. So one of the new things that's coming out in this line of innovative technology is additional types of cardiac monitoring, and blood pressure apparently is a big innovation that's going to be coming to users like you and I. So next iterations of wearables are most likely going to have some kind of blood pressure monitoring component to them. I've seen quite a few products on this list that they're actually adopting that technology.
Not that I want to poo-poo on it too much, but these wearables, we can do your blood oxygen, we can do your pulse, we can now apparently do your blood pressure. At some point, they're selling us the things that they can do, but it's the things that they can't do that they can't put in the smartwatch might be the things that we should actually be watching out for that would actually kill us. What I'm getting at is we're paying for these cool smartwatches to give us data on the promise that, now you're an informed person. Now you have every bit of information you need to not die at a young age. So I think a lot of this it's cool, but what do we do with it? I don't know. Let's find something. Let's tell people it's going to make them healthier.
Well, you do know that high blood pressure is known as the silent killer, because often it's asymptomatic, and then all of a sudden, pop, you're dead. So maybe this could be information that's useful. I can take my EEG with my Apple Watch, and every once in a while I do, just to make sure it's all, regular sinus rhythm, and then I go back about my day.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess having more data is not bad than less data, but it's also, what happens? It's like social media. Do you get addicted to the stats? Oh my gosh, it's pick a number out of the sky. What does it mean? Nothing. It means nothing. Go about your day. Anyway, all right, you got some juicy stuff on your list, right? Or was it too early for that?
I think I'm starting to ramp up the juiciness. Let me ask you this, Kevin.
Okay.
Have you ever, we're talking before times here. Did you ever think, man, it'd be really cool to go out with a bunch of my friends and not have to have anyone drive, but I don't want to go out in one of those, cheesy autonomous vehicles. I want something fancy along the lines of a Cadillac autonomous vehicle. Did you ever have that thought?
I haven't. No, I haven't. But maybe now, since you planted that in my mind, I might. So what would people who had such thoughts do to relieve such anxiety, Bob?
Well, luckily, our friends over at General Motors and Cadillac are solving this problem for us, because debuted at this year's CES was a high-end Cadillac minivan, basically, that's autonomous. So the seating goes around completely, so everyone sits around the perimeter, and it's basically a self-driving party taxi.
Did you watch Westworld Season 3?
Oh, yes, the vehicle's in there, very much along those lines, yes.
Okay, that's immediately what that. It's basically a wrap-around sofa with 4 wheels on it. So, yes. Okay, that's, one day that would be kind of cool. Autonomous. I might be one of those people who I don't want to give up control to a computer autonomously. But one day I think that is the future. So you've been to an amusement park, right? They already have these kind of vehicles that just will take you from here to there. We call those roller coasters. Now, of course, they're meant for thrills, and they're on a track. They also have the old-fashioned cars where it has the rail in the middle, and if the wheels, it bounces off, goes the other way. So I mean, we kind of have this technology for a while, but this is without the rail. So
wait, we better put technology in air quotes there.
Yeah, it's a little loosely used there.
The center bumper is not technology.
Can I ask you a simple question? Why? And I just had this thought, maybe it's irrational. Why go through the trouble of doing AI that could be faulty, blah, blah, pick a bunch of reasons, just so you don't have to have a rail in your lane? Why don't we just put rails?
Because the future, Kevin. The future.
I'm just thinking, man, isn't the simple solution here just put a rail in the middle, like a monorail, and then you have switches to be able to go, okay, now I need to veer off to the right. Now I need to veer off to the left. And gosh, that just seems simple. Is that just too simple? Then probably. I'm just asking.
That is the conveyor belt technology dream that I had over a decade ago. So that the roads basically became conveyor belts. And your pod.
And you know what else?
Go ahead.
You know what else a rail could do? You could charge the vehicle while it moves.
Huzzah!
Ooh. I don't know. I'm having this revelation. Maybe you already had this, but why are we going through all the gyrations of doing this? Because we've already had these things. They're called trains. They're on rails. Electric trains. They get a lot of people to where they're going.
I think Elon has an invention in his queue that's basically energized road tiles that can actually charge a vehicle while it's in contact with the road. So that's one of his deals, to be sure. I know, it's because Skype changes your picture size based on your bandwidth. It's really frustrating. But
that sucks.
I want to segue off of the self-charging car.
Did it there.
Because There's a car that was brought to us by the people at Sono Motors. It's an electric car that's basically covered in similar technology to Elon's roof tiles. It's solar panel covered car, but you can't really tell, and it basically charges while driving it around.
Speaking of solar panels, and you can't tell, I think that's what the revolution, and that's what I think Elon's one of his business ventures, roof tiles that don't look like solar panels but are solar panels. That's a great idea, because what do people say? There's two things that people say against solar panels, and no, we're not even talking about a car at this point. Two things against solar panels: they look ugly and they cost a lot. So those are the two problems I think we need to solve with that. But if a car can do that, it'd be great. But I just don't think a car is in a surface area. So what does this car look like? I've seen the ones that are like cars that are like giant UFO looking things.
No, this one looks like a minivan. Looks like a compact minivan. So we'll see.
Is it a hybrid or is it fully electric?
It says it's a fully electric. It's a 35 kilowatt battery that can be charged through a standard EV charger. So it's an electric vehicle. So it's basically just solar assisted charging.
Okay, so it's just helping not discharge the battery as quick on a sunny day, because if it's raining, yeah, pointless.
Yeah, well,
Right.
but one of the most practical uses of solar is like an adjunct power source, not just a primary. So, yeah. All right, so I know there's a couple of these in here, but we can start with the one that was up higher. Go start with another question. Kevin, have you ever found yourself wanting to be pleasured along to the beat of whatever music is playing around you?
That's an interesting question, Bob. And no, I never pondered such things. What about you?
I did not until reviewing some of the things that were announced at CES this past few weeks. And our good friends from, hang on, I'm scrolling. Our good friends from Satisfiers. It's the Satisfier Love Triangle sex toy. It's it ran away with 2 innovation awards for this year's. Of course, it's got a connected app, but it's got an air pulse stimulation and vibration. Wow, for an all-around titillating experience. I believe that's a word that you used earlier in the show. It's got an app for iOS and Android, so you can customize the vibration and pulse patterns. And wow, that's a.
So is this like, can you trade your profiles? Hey Bob, what's your vibration profile? Can you share that with me? Or
like a playlist.
Yeah, exactly. Check this one out, Kevin.
I got a bop it, twist it, bop it. I'll trade you for a.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what kind of toy was that?
Let's go ahead and jump. Oh, I feel like you have a question. Go ahead.
I don't. No. I was just gonna go to the next product.
Oh, the next sex toy product?
Not necessarily, no. But if you wanna keep going, go for it.
Well, I got another one in the back pocket, so to speak. So if you wanna.
Yep. Okay. All right, Bob. Let me find a good one here. Let's see here. Okay. This one actually I could possibly like. So, a Bluetooth shower speaker powered only by water.
I was really intrigued by that one too. I think that's actually brilliant. There's not many of these on here that I'm just like, wow. But that one I was like, wow.
I'm assuming it's powered because it works like a water wheel. You know, like we're talking like settlers, right? Like it's got a little turbine and it spins it, and hey, that's what powers it. That is pretty clever. You know, like, well, that does make a lot of sense. I don't know about you, but let me ask you. I listen to Alexa. Oh, geez, I just said her name. She's listening to me. I'm gonna hit. Don't. Okay. When I talk to the person that rhymes with Alexa, dang it, she still heard.
Yeah, exactly. That doesn't work.
No, that one device thing that responds to commands. I'll turn it on and turn, volume 8 or whatever, while I'm in the shower. So I'll listen to like the local morning show, whatnot, get my news or whatever. So is that something that, turn on the radio in the morning and listen during the shower, or is that just like, that's weird, Kevin?
No, actually, I think music in the showers, shower radios have been popular for a really long time. I can't tell you how many we've owned throughout the, past 25 years. So we actually have a speaker in the bathroom that's outside the shower. And of course, you do have to blast it, so you can actually enjoy the audio level while you're in the shower. So having something in the shower with you, always preferred. You know what else is great in the shower? A shower beer.
Oh, here comes.
No, shower beer.
Are you serious?
You've never had a shower beer?
I'm not even sure what we're talking about. Are we talking about drinking a beer in the shower?
Hell yeah.
No, I guess I don't cross those streams.
This is obviously not a morning shower we're talking about. Allegedly.
Fair. Fair.
But yeah, so little music, little tunes.
5:30 somewhere in the world.
Yep, little tunes in the shower, little beer in the shower. Highly recommend it. I'm doing dry January, so like I'm having vivid daydreams about alcohol at this point.
Gosh, I can't remember the last time. Oh, I did get the growler for Christmas or pre-Christmas. Put some in there. So it's been a while since I've had any. Just not feeling inspiration to do any sort of beer lately. All right. What else here?
Did you see the mini beehives, or the basically the balcony-sized bee colonies that you can help save the planet by raising honeybees right there on a very small plot of land?
I saw something to that effect, but I'm just quickly trying to scroll. Let us know a little bit more about it.
It's called the Bee Box. No shock to anyone here that it actually has an app. So not only can you raise bees and get honey and help save the world, but you'll be notified via an app the actual conditions in the hive and the amount of activity that's going on in the hive. So you'll know if your bees are, yes, indeed, healthy and contributing to the greater good. The good thing about this is that the hives are they're self-contained and relatively small. They do say that you could, basically raise bees on your balcony. So in theory, even in New York City, large metro areas, you could contribute to bringing back the bee population.
So I like honey. Can you get honey out of this, or is this basically all you got to do is put this out so it's protected? You got bees, you get no honey or anything.
Oh no! Where there are bees, there's honey, because you're raising the honeybees. So you'll actually be able to get fresh honey from these little hives.
Do you ever get grossed out thinking that honey is just like bee vomit, insect vomit? It's gross to think about. It's good,
but it's damn good.
It is good. All right. Well, that's interesting stuff here. All right, so basically what we're getting at is anything that's connected, or anything at CES anymore, better have an app to go with it, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like a cardboard box, it's got to have an app.
It's 2021. It's got to have an app that goes with it. So I basically have one last question for you, Kevin. This is another lifestyle question. Have you ever found yourself, reaching for your favorite sex toy and you go, oh, God damn, that's cold?
I can't say that has ever entered my top 100 things that I wish I could solve or actually ever happened to me, but go for it.
Well, apparently that is a large concern of people when they reach for their favorite sex toy. Well, someone has solved that problem. One of the companies in here, I'm still scrolling dramatically down to get to it, but they basically have developed sex toys with built-in heating elements. So I believe, of course, via an app, when you're starting to feel like you might be in the mood later, you can just send a quick ping to your favorite little toy and get it warming up for you.
The weird part of me is thinking, could you use this in a survival situation to keep your core warm? I'm just asking.
I'm sure you probably could heat yourself from the inside out if that's what you're asking.
I'm sort of asking that, but please don't answer that. I hope the answer is no, it's not going to help you.
It must be the very last story on here.
I'm looking at it here. It's Laura DiCardo, don't know who that is, rolls out new heated sex toys.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
You'd think that you could just take out or make it microwavable. But maybe that's just...
It's a lot of
but
metal
I have
parts.
a USB charger, Kevin. and if we make it microwavable, it can't have an app, because I'm sure this has got an app, right?
3 new toys feature all new heating technology to warm things up in the bedroom. The 3 toys are non-phallic in design and use a nylon-based thermal conductive polymer to create consistently body-warming, intimate experience. It doesn't say anything about an app. I just assumed that it did. Wow.
I'm just going to take this to the absurd again. So imagine you're a research and development scientist for sex toys. A, what's your LinkedIn look like? And B, what do you talk about during the holidays with the family? So how's work going? Well, funny you mention that. We've got this new technology. Really? Tell me all about it. Those are just got to be amazing conversations.
I can think of lots of colorful answers to the question, how's work going, and something about it. It's really verbing me in a noun kind of thing.
It's a pain in my ass.
Yes.
So, all right.
Oh,
speaking of things that are in the ass,
can't wait for this segment.
audio production. So it is now Bob's turn to do this week's read for our sponsor.
Oh shit, Josh, sorry it's so late in the show. We were just so caught up with CES stuff, and we've got more to come on the other side of it. But this episode of the show, along just like every other episode of the Bob and Kevin show for the past couple of months, is brought to you by Baty Bar Media. That's BATY-BARR.media for the URL. And they're the president there, Josh Baty Bar, we get the we get the VIP treatment. He is our head engineer and show producer. It's an online, Beatty Bar Media is an online editing and production company that specializes in music, podcast production, and video services for creators of all backgrounds. Their efficient and reliable services will save you time and stress on project. Josh working for us on the show allows us to basically dick around and do stuff like getting back into live video production, because what happens is we talk about things on air, we dump files to Josh via his electronic submission. He goes ahead and does all the editing. We get an electronic invoice, we get electronic files, we get to pick our teasers. I mean, it's all done. Bam, bam, bam. It's a pretty high-tech experience and pretty high touch at the same time. So he basically just allows us to be great creators. And what he's also allowed us to do is pass along some of that goodness to you. If you go to baty-barr.media, one of those cool TLDs like ours, /BK show, you can actually fill out your first project scope with him and get a 10% discount. So baty-barr.media/BK show for the Bob and Kevin show, and get 10% off your first project. Kevin, you got anything to add to that, or take it away?
No, not really. Other than you did identify another PITA, which is, when you hire somebody, getting them paid or whatnot is hard, but Josh makes it super easy for us because we just do it online. And then he delivers the files online. I guess, how else would you send it, Kevin? Not through the mail. Well,
he could send us a
is
jump drive or something. I mean, if he wanted to be old school.
You almost said zip drive.
I did.
How many people out there even know what a zip drive is? I mean, they probably know what a floppy drive is, probably know what a CD, a DVD, Blu-ray is, but a zip drive?
How about a Bernoulli drive?
I don't know what that is.
Cyquist drive. Bernoulli's, I think, were the predecessors to Cyquists. So.
What about SCSI? Remember SCSI?
SCSI cables?
SCSI drives?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That was a bad SCSI
we're
cable
just a couple
somewhere.
old guys.
Yeah, so Josh runs a high-tech operation for these two old white dudes, and we really appreciate it. It's almost too easy to pay him, just to be fair, but we do enjoy everything you do for us, Josh, and sorry again for getting the read so late in the show. Another thing that I learned about CES, Kevin, by looking at this is that, and we've talked about this before, apparently if you can roll or fold a screen, that is the coolest thing ever.
It is.
But
why?
Yeah, exactly. But why? How many times have you said, God, I wish I could just roll my phone up and put it in my pocket?
Well, that's where the new flip phone would be kind of cool, because, the thing with like an iPhone or even my old Samsung here, they're not getting any smaller. They're like mini iPads anymore. So I understand at some point if you fold it in half, you're helping us out. But the rolling screen, it's cool. It's very cool. But I'm still trying to wrap my head around, okay, great. What problem did we just solve? Because you're right. At no point have I gone, you know what? I wish I could take this TV home. With one exception, Bob. If I could roll away a TV into the ceiling or downward into a media cabinet, that would be kind of cool. Because a television turned off over the years, just sitting in a room, kind of is just ugly. So if you could roll it away into the ceiling or roll it down into like the media center, that would be kind of cool. But then you'd have, I guess, a painting or something behind it. Imagine you're having a party and people over, and you don't want the TV just to be there and off over the fireplace. You want it to be this Picasso or some Monet or whatever. So I guess, but it's definitely not going. None of that's going to appeal to Joe user who wants to buy one of these at Walmart, right?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the behind it aspect, because another odd thing that I saw that's apparently gaining ground is transparent televisions. I don't understand that.
So a lot of sci-fi shows. So if I'm correct, like The Expanse, you watch The Expanse, right?
Yes.
So it's UI. So I never understood this. I'm gonna go on a little rant. I'll come right back.
Would be a Bob Kevin show.
I'm flying the Rocinante on The Expanse. I got this cool UI. It's floating in front of me. But from your perspective, who's standing on the other side of this virtual screen, everything's backwards. So why even show them the backwards view of this? What about like screen protection? I've got these monitors here, and if I was doing like super secret work, I would have to have some sort of thing that you couldn't see from the angle. But no, on sci-fi shows, you can see it from all angles and backwards and reverse and near. So I don't think that makes sense from a practicality standpoint. I have Bob's review of his salary and everything, and I'm reviewing it, and I'm in this futuristic work. Everyone in the room can see exactly what I'm looking at, right?
Well, remember, in the future, there are no paychecks. It's all universal basic income or no need for money. Also, since you're using The Expanse as a point of reference, notice that their living quarters, especially on the main ship in this season, they all sleep in open bunks, like in a communal area. Do you remember that?
Oh
The
yeah,
scene
they're all,
show that?
they're all getting it on with each other
Yep.
too, and it's like no big deal.
It's
Yep,
just a big
that's
shipwide
gonna.
hump fest. That's the future
But
I'm
back
looking
to
for.
transparent screens. Okay, let's imagine your current flat screen TV, wherever it is in your house, because y'all got flat screens. If you have a tube television, this podcast is
It's not for you.
but no. So you've got a piece of glass basically in the future, and now you can see through it, and maybe you can still have a painting behind it, but it'd be really awkward still. But even having a transparent screen, what did I solve? I'm just asking, what did we solve here?
I don't know the answer to that question. That's kind of why I raised it.
Yeah, so I don't like we did what we did. Why did we? Because we could. It was there. Okay, go make any money. No, but we did it. Okay, it's like going to the moon. Yeah, I guess some things are humankind worthy, but a clear television screen, transparent one. Not sure where we're going with that one. So yeah,
Yeah, and these high-tech masks, not sure where we're going with these.
we seem opportunistic products.
Yeah, I'm getting this.
We can't even get like 40% of the population to even wear a mask, let alone a smart mask. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Maybe because they're not internet connected. Maybe that's the reasoning.
Well, Mask Phone. I mean, that's the one I'm looking at right now. I guess it is extension. It's basically a headset plus mask. I don't know.
This is like the lower third of Darth Vader mask. It's got electronics.
Yes.
It'll make you sound cool. It'll make you sound like James Earl Jones. Yep.
Actually, one of them, I think that might be the one, or there's another one on here that does have voice amplification as part of the mask. So, like, that's addressing the problem, like, I can't hear you with your mask on. So
now that would normalize covering your face when you go into a bank, if you could even go into a bank now you can change your voice and rob the place without them knowing what you sound like or most of you it looks like.
Well, I mean,
awesome.
It's just so funny when you think about that specific instance. Like for all of my childhood, and I'm sure my parents' childhoods and the childhoods of their parents or lives of their parents, you think of the stereotypical bank robber covers their face with a bandana or stagecoach robber, bandana covering face. You don't know who I am because my face is covered. But now everyone in the bank has their face covered. It's so weird.
Except the bank robber, who isn't going to stand for his rights to be stepped on. I'm robbing this bank without a mask, and you can't stop me.
Don't muzzle me.
Awkward. That's right. My rights. You can't. While I rob this bank, I will show you that you can't hurt my freedom. Okay, awkward. Yeah. Welcome to 2021, folks.
Fingerprint scanners are getting bigger. CES probably gave an award for that. All glass dashboards.
Here's one. That one actually kind of looked cool because it looks very Star Trek Next Generation. So I'll give that one like style points. But again, I don't know. It's just like the new Dragon X module that sent all these astronauts up on one of Elon's firework or rockets. Um, what happens when you get the blue screen of death? You know, how do I just where's the emergency brake lever? You know, I need some tangible stuff here. Oh, there goes the video again.
Yeah, it's been doing it.
Um,
Luckily, you're not paying attention. It usually.
not like it's huge diameter. That looks pretty small. So I'd be, I mean, it's a interesting concept, but I'm just, boy, I hope they have better marketing than this.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into that one. Because it is intriguing. But yeah, that picture makes it seem like a lot. I don't think that's the $2,000 thing. I think you can add some of their other kitchen on the go, like a tiny solar powered coffee brewer and things like that. So they have a whole lineup: solar lights, ovens, coolers. So I think that's where you start to get to $2,000
4K, 8K.
because we didn't
So
know 4K was coming.
the thing with like these, even 4K TVs, there's very limited content that's in 4K.